Hello, Crixis here, and welcome everyone to this week's video. You have to imagine me doing the thing with the hands, like doing the dancing hands, because I am actually recording voiceover. And yeah, I hope you don't mind. I just really wanted to show the full process, how I paint watercolor illustrations, and I also wanted to kind of not chat while I was painting to not get like too destructive. So it's not like all over the place, and I just wanted to come back later on and chat a little bit about the painting. And I also decided to answer some of your questions and just have a chat. So I hope this is fine with you. Like this video and grab yourself your favorite drink. I am currently having chai latte with me. This is a milk drink with kind of powdery chai latte, and I think the company is Drink Me Chai, if I am not wrong. And yeah, so anyways, you can work on your own projects as well, and I will be like the chatty person here and a company for you, hopefully. This is a painting I did with handmade watercolors, and it is done on Arches cold press paper. This is actually one of the recent purchases I did because I really wanted to have higher quality paper and to have like experiment with different brands. So I have Fabriano Artistico papers, both cold press and hot press. And now I also have Arches, both hot press and cold press. I used to love hot press papers because I usually work with mixed medium and I like super smooth surfaces. But I have changed my decision because whenever I paint with watercolors, I feel cold pressed papers, they kind of show more granulation and kind of emphasize the watercolors and bring them to just the paper makes them more beautiful. And yeah, so the watercolor palette I am using, it's I kind of put different brands together, and that's what I used for this painting. I shared recently, I will link the video where I show what is like in my current watercolor palette. Since then I have changed some things and added some things, but it's mostly consisting of all handmade watercolors. I have Deep Light, which is Latvian brand. I also have Ericus Arts, which is UK brand. I have Beyond Indigo, UK brand. I have SE Colors, which are Spain/Latvian brand, and Wallace and Seymour's, which are also UK brand. So I'm trying to have like watercolors which are handmade because I just really love the texture, and I also love the feeling that I'm supporting small businesses. And yeah, just knowing that some person made these ones instead of a factory, it just makes them a little bit more special. And yeah, you will see the whole process, but basically this is the print I am doing for my Patreons. And there is like highest tier, which is called Curious Foxes. And every single month I'm creating artwork. I am sharing the process in the beginning of the month. Then I am doing an order from online stores, and I am kind of ordering prints there. And in later in that month, I receive them, and then I pack them all out. And this is June's physical reward. I am always also, when I order the prints, I put limited number on my Patreon because that's how much I ordered. So for this month, I ordered 20 prints, and I have 19 Patreons in that tier, which brings me like so much joy and happiness because just the fact that someone else is interested in my art, it's just brings a lot of joy to me. So I have one more space left. If you really want to have this print, join me on Patreon, and I will send it to you at the end of this month. But yeah, this is like self-promo because I am not sponsored by any chance. And yeah, this is just like a great way to support an artist. I myself also have joined several Patreons throughout these years, and it's just supporting different artists as well. but it's no obligations as well. I just wanted to mention it because that was the purpose of creating this artwork. I also really wanted to continue painting with watercolors because I realized I just love watercolors. It's so bold to say, but I think watercolors, they're my favorite medium right now. I have been slowly falling in love with them. It wasn't love at first sight. In the beginning, I was painting with watercolors in 2012, 2013. Then I stopped for some while. Then I picked it up in 17 or 18. But this is my first time when I picked them up when I was doing more illustrations rather than fine art. So it was really interesting to kind of start to find my voice with this medium. And it is quite different than the other mediums I use. And before watercolors in illustration, I used to use a lot of mixed medium. And I still want to get back to it. But I think in this moment, almost all of my art, with what I'm doing except sketchbook work, is with watercolors. And for this piece, I really wanted to have indoor scene because all of the watercolor illustrations I have done recently, they have been outdoor scenes, specifically outdoor scenes with birds, because I'm currently doing Birds in Color watercolor challenge, and it was like a drawing challenge for May, but I decided to have 2 months for this challenge and just have a little bit more time to do different things because I'm doing a lot of different things, and it's such a nice feeling to have like a little bit more space for these artworks. And I just really wanted to paint indoor scene now, and I have done a lot of indoor scenes. I really enjoy making them, but I think it was really interesting to see how I would paint indoor scene with watercolors. And I want to paint more indoor scenes as well, and maybe even like having like separate things as well from indoors and kind of painting objects with tiny brush. It just brings me a lot of joy. For this artwork, I really wanted to portray the messiness of being an artist, and that not everything is like in the right order, but actually that's the beauty of it. And usually when I work on art, there are a lot of behind the scenes where there's just like chaotic mess around, filled with empty tea mugs and empty plates and food left over on the side, and then filled with different swatching cards and sketchbooks and open books and brushes all over the table and pencils and pens. And I just really wanted to have this in the artwork. And that was like one of the main things. And then I also wanted to have an easel and like paint artist as well. And this is so funny. I really wanted to paint the dancing hands, which I'm doing in the intros and outros. And it kind of somehow have become my trademark. And I just really wanted to have artwork with these hands. So the artist, the girl in the painting, she's actually painting these dancing hands, which is so funny. So it's kind of like me painting an artwork where the artist is painting an artwork, and in that artwork there are dancing hands. So it's kind of like Inception in a way. Okay, so anyways, while I'm painting this painting, I decided to answer some of your questions. I asked both on Instagram and on YouTube community tag some of the questions, and you asked me a lot of questions, so I'm so excited to chat with you about them. So I will try to screenshot every one of you if you ask some questions and put them in somewhere on the screen as well. But at AIB asked, what is the best cotton cold pressed paper on a budget in your opinion? And this is a good question. Unfortunately, I don't have like I have some brands which are suggested to me as well, but I haven't tried some of them. I think what I learned in this watercolor period that so there are 3 things. One thing is paper, and it's the most important one. Then are colors, and then the third one is brushes. So watercolor paper is really important to create beautiful art, because if you use cheaper paper, it doesn't behave correctly. It's either absorbing too quickly, it spreads a lot, and it's really hard to control what you're doing. Whereas with the higher quality papers, you can actually like erase the mistakes, as to say. Like when I have done it with these two papers, when I have some kind of thing which I decided not to have, I just add a lot of water on the brush and I clean that part with water, and then use the wipe or paper towel, and then it's almost like it's like erased with a razor, but not a razor, but like erased with water. So, and you can add a lot of layers, and I think it's really important. But I have gathered some of the suggestions from one art channel. I will try to link him down below. So for me, I use higher quality paper. I use Arches, both hot press and cold press, and I use Fabriano Artistico hot press and cold press. Another higher quality paper which is recommended is Saunders Waterford. And then there are 3 brands which are cheaper, but they are considered a good quality. So it's kind of a mix between quality and price. So the first suggestion is Signed Cadbard's Mill, Bockingford. I haven't tried that paper. I want to try it as well, but it's considered to be cheaper, but also good quality. The Langton Daler-Rowney is also good value, and Cotman Windsor Newton. So this is like the suggestion. I have another question, and it's from Hagbloom 2664. And the question is, as an artist, do you have any dreams or goals that you would be willing to share? It's really tricky, because in one point I'm thinking about the long plans and what I want to do in like long period times from now, but at the same time sometimes I just focus on like the next month and that's it. So for me, like longer term plans, I would love to own a place. I would love to have my studio, like possibly like in a bedroom. I don't mind. I want to work from home. I think what I realized, I just love my cozy place, and to have a studio in like a bedroom, that's totally fine with me. Yeah, but living in like my own place, that is like one of the goals. I also want to just continue creating art. I really enjoy being on YouTube, so I am not disappearing. And also, I want to continue having my online store, possibly self-published books, which I will be chatting a little bit more in the future, and have a Patreon, because Patreon for me, it's like a big support, and that way I can continue doing what I do. But yeah, I think like creating art, it's always going to be there. I have a question from Mukut53, and the questions are: could you talk about any artists, books, movies, songs that have inspired your artwork in any way, directly or indirectly? This is a good question. So I think for films, I really enjoy Wes Anderson directed films, and I think they have inspired me with color and choice of colors and compositions. I think he's really different than other directors. You can definitely recognize his style throughout different movies he has directed. And when I first saw Moonrays Kingdom, I was like, yeah, there is something special in it. And I think I really admire him as a person. And also from the films, I really love Amelie. I didn't know in the beginning when I watched the film at first, but exactly I liked, besides having like the nice storyline of the beginning to an end and having like resolution of a story. But I also really enjoy the choices of color in movies. It's really interesting because sometimes you don't recognize these things, but I think with Wes Anderson and Amelie, I really felt that the color is pushed to the limit, and with color you are showing the feeling of the scene and showing the focus of what is important. So definitely big influences there. I think from illustrators. When I was smaller and I was growing up, my mom used to read Tove Jansson, The Moomins. There is also Friedrich Bosch, I think that's his name. If I'm wrong, I will write in the description box his name. Okay, I have another question. It's from Bice8878. I love your paintings and your videos. Thank you so much. I recently decided to try to become a full-time artist and make my own picture books or children's books, and I'm worried and a little bit scared for the new chapter of my life. I have been doing art part-time for a long time and quit my stable job to focus on my art career before I even start to make a decent money out of it. Do you have any tips or advice for someone like me on continuing the art career without feeling stuck? How has journey have been like with you? I have by no means an expert. This is I think on the 1st of July, it's my 2-year anniversary of doing art full time. It's I'm not sure if I'm the best example because I am not by no means having the stable life, and every day is a new challenge. But I just truly believe that I can do what I do full time. I feel there have been some moments where I have doubted myself, and because I have always worked when I was studying, it was really crazy to just start doing everything by myself. When I decided to do art full time, I got a book project from American author, which definitely helped me. And I also had little bit savings. By the time when I was starting to film YouTube videos, I worked in coffee shop. I was just in a furlough. It was just pandemic. And when I got this book project, I was okay, I think this is the time to start doing more art for myself and create art business and share my experience with everyone. But I think throughout these 2 years, I have been doubting myself. I have been trying to contemplate, should I just go back and work in regular job and have art as a part-time thing? But I really, really, really believe that I can do art full-time. I know it's not going to be easy. I know I'm just in the beginning of this journey, and I just need to stay humble because sometimes I have these thoughts in my mind that I have been doing art for over a decade, and I haven't managed to make it into art business. But it's because my mind has always been completely different. I always been a true believer that it will just happen. It will be all right. And now I'm trying to think how I can do what I do and also share the thing I'm doing with everyone else and make it into a career. And I feel it's really good to make deadlines and have idea what is your goal, what is something you want to make out of it. And it's fine if goals are changing, but it's good to know the direction you're going forward, because otherwise it's just all over the place. I remember when I finished the picture book, I didn't know exactly what is my future plans, whereas now I know approximately where I'm going towards. If that makes sense, I hope it makes sense. But I think having a client jobs in between, it's a great way to continue doing what you're doing. It's great if you quit a job to have some kind of savings beforehand. Otherwise, it's just too stressful. And there was one point where I ran out of savings and I was just like in a panic mode. And I did a few different things here and there, and then everything kind of went in the right direction. I hope this answer was helpful. Okay, I have some questions from Instagram stories. One question is from Marilla Walker Design. And the question is, what is your favorite subject to paint or draw? It's really tricky, but in general, I really like drawing any kind of illustration with characters in it. I think I really like associating like the character with like the scene and making story out of it, and even like in a single file picture. I just really love connecting the dots in there. I also really love drawing details at the end, and when I do mixed medium, I like to add texture on top. But yeah, it's really hard. This question is like I can answer to so many ways. I also really like night scenes. I also really like foxes, and I also love painting birds. So yeah, a lot of things in general. I have a question from Celeste Labelle, artist. Hello, Celeste. How do you come up with your scenes for your bird paintings? So sometimes I just have like some kind of composition where I want to put a bird and where I want to put a character. And then when I start sketching, I'm like kind of putting dots together for a woodpecker scene, which I'm doing recently. I really wanted to have like this girl inside a tree sleeping, and I don't know, it just came like a random thing, but I didn't know what else is inside. And then when I was sketching things out on a piece of paper, I was thinking maybe there's like little library inside, and then of course there's like a bird, so a woodpecker. So yeah, I'm kind of like I start sketching, and then I have like the next idea with this sketch. And even like when I start painting the painting, I tend to add some things on top and change my mind as well. And I think that's the beauty of creating art, because if you allow, you can just end up with completely different piece. It's not better or worse, it's just different, and it's just really interesting how we can come up with that. I think also like for the birds in color challenge illustrations, I really wanted to have a bird almost in the same size as the character. It just felt something really interesting. I think why I got like this influence to have kind of different proportions, because one of my favorite fine artists, surrealist, is Rene Magritte, and I really love his work, not because of his color or his mark making. I really love his style because of the idea and the concept of it, and also of composition. So I think maybe in a way I'm some kind of influenced by Rene Magritte, but in completely different way, because I'm nowhere near painting in his style. I'm just taking this proportion thing to my illustrations, if that makes sense. I have a question from Kelly. What types of paint and pencils do you use? I am using watercolors, the handmade ones. Honestly, I'm using like mixed mediums, so it's really hard to list all of the things. I have some videos with favorite art supplies up here on YouTube. I will try to make another one, because I really want to chat about watercolors and watercolor brushes and watercolor papers. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully I will film it in the next month. And I have a question from Erwin Reston. Who are your favorite illustrators and artists that inspire you? This is like really hard question. It's really hard to kind of just have one, so I will just mention several. For a long time, since I started being more interested in picture book illustrator world, I think since 2017, I have been really into Julia Sarda's work. I really love her work. I also love Gemma Kuhlman, Rebecca Green, Carson Ellis, Diana Lukovic. I really love her art. I recently discovered her throughout AC Color collaboration, and I just really love her style. She's also doing mixed medium, but the way she paints with watercolors is just gorgeous because she emphasizes the granulation of the colors, and the color choices is just beautiful. But yeah, it's just so hard to mention everyone because but these are some of them. Yeah, I think that's the good formulation. Some of them are here. I have a question from Raps5. Question: how do you develop skills in illustration, storytelling type of art style? Can you suggest any courses, books, or techniques that followed you personally when you first started out? So I feel everyone is like a little bit different. So for me, I learned how to do a little bit more illustration when I was studying undergraduate art, when I was doing Erasmus, and when I also did masters. So I didn't do a lot of research in books, or I didn't do illustration courses because I was literally studying illustration. I think when I just started out, I was doing undergrads, and I did undergrads in a completely different area. I did like printmaking, which was more fine arts, and in the third course we had illustration. But I remember in the second course I was like already like, and first course I was really into illustration. So what I did, I looked at picture books which really interested me. And I was like trying to chat with myself, what is something I really enjoy in this illustration? And what is something I don't enjoy? And I was trying to be like an art critic, kind of like silent one. I didn't share it everywhere. I was just chatting with myself. And I also was sketching a little bit from the illustrations I really enjoyed. But I didn't like copy. I didn't share the art anywhere else. It was just for myself to understand what I enjoy. And when I did more studies and I did the master's book illustration, I think that's where my style kind of developed a little bit more. So it's not been like years and years and years in like one specific style, because I used to do fine art. So I think it was really challenging for me because transitioning from fine art to illustration is really hard. Because you're always thinking about the theory, which in some cases is great, but sometimes you just really want to be expressive and I don't know, paint clouds in pink color. Well, not pink per se. I would probably paint clouds in like, I don't know, pale green color. But yeah, kind of experiment and allow not to draw everything too realistic. I think like nowadays you don't need to have full-on education to do illustration. You can just learn it online. I wish I would recommend like more courses, but I just haven't done a lot of courses online. And the ones I do is just like sketching, kind of like from Patreons, from other Patreons I follow. And yeah, that's about it. But I think if you are just starting out, I would suggest you to check online courses, because that could be like a shortcut from avoiding 3 or 4 or 5 year education in that area. Because I like now I'm not sure if this is like completely necessary for everyone, and you can definitely learn a lot from the books. And also from videos. I think YouTube is like a great platform for everyone to learn a little bit more. And I think that's how I learned a little bit more techniques from others as well. So yeah, I hope this question helped. And thank you everyone for asking me questions. I hope you enjoyed listening to them and you had new ideas throughout this podcast video format. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel to grow and reach much more people. If you stay till the end, write in the comments curious foxes, so I know you stayed till the end. And I will see you super soon. I have one video planned, which is my studio vlog from May. I know it's like already middle of June, but I have studio vlog which I have filmed. I really wanted to share it because I wanted to show you exhibition where I was participating in, and just a little bit more day-to-day life. Thank you so much, all of my lovely Patreons who are supporting me. Your support means a lot. And with that being said, I will see you super soon. Bye everyone. Bye. Bye everyone.